There are secrets that travel through the centuries like underground rivers, unseen by most, yet silently nourishing those who find their source. King Solomon, known as the wisest man who ever lived, guarded one of these secrets, and it was not only written in the pages of the Bible, but engraved in the way he thought, decided, and prospered. Centuries later, Napoleon Hill, researching the most brilliant and successful minds in the world, found this very principle hidden, as if it were a secret bridge linking ancient wisdom to modern success. A principle so simple to understand, yet so powerful to apply that it can transform finances, relationships, and even the very meaning of life. Today, you are about to walk across that bridge. But first, you must answer yourself. If you had the chance to ask for anything, absolutely anything, what would you ask for? Over 3,000 years ago, king lived whose wisdom could not be contained in scrolls alone. It spread like light, reaching distant peoples and cultures. His name was Solomon, and he was remembered not only for the immense wealth he possessed, but for his rare ability to discern with clarity what few could see. In him was a perfect blend of intelligence, intuition, and faith. And it is in this invisible meeting point that lies the secret that has crossed generations without losing its power. Solomon did not rule only with laws and armies, but with a worldview that put every decision into perspective. He knew that the true strength of a leader lies not just in the power he wields, but in the wisdom with which he uses it. This wisdom made queens travel days across the desert just to hear his words, and kings send gifts just to receive a piece of advice. This same essence, centuries later, would be recognized and translated by Napoleon Hill as the master key to any achievement. Today, you have the chance to access this very principle, not as a distant theory, but as something alive and applicable to your life, whether to prosper financially, make accurate decisions, or live with more purpose. So, if this message has already sparked something in you, like, comment, and share so that more people can have access to this wisdom that has survived for millennia. At first glance, it seems impossible to imagine an encounter between an ancient king and a 20th century writer. One lived in palaces adorned with gold. The other roamed offices and factories interviewing modern millionaires. But when we look deeper, we see an invisible link connecting these two worlds, the timeless power of applied wisdom. And interestingly, both Solomon and Napoleon Hill understood that the laws that govern success do not change over time. They only change their setting. Solomon surrounded himself with counselors and wise men, using collective intelligence to expand his vision and make more precise decisions. Hill, in turn, studied the mastermind, the principle that emerges when two or more people unite to create something greater than they could alone. Different contexts, the same essence, the understanding that success multiplies when you know how to seek and listen to the right voices. This bridge between past and present reveals that there are no barriers between ancient knowledge and the modern science of success. In fact, the strength lies in uniting them, learning from eternal wisdom and applying it with today's tools and opportunities. And that is exactly what leads us to know more deeply the true journey of Solomon and the moment when his request changed not only his life, but history itself. The scene is simple, yet it carries eternal weight. A young king, newly placed on the throne, receives from God an offer few would have the courage to answer with humility. Ask for whatever you want, and I will give it to you. There were no limits, no conditions, no restrictions. Solomon could have asked for immeasurable wealth, victory over his enemies, or even eternal life. But he asked for wisdom. First glance, this may seem like just an act of humility, but in truth, it was one of the most strategic decisions ever recorded. By asking for wisdom, Solomon was requesting the ability to solve any problem, to make decisions that would create lasting solutions. He understood that wealth and peace were natural consequences of correct decisions, not the primary goal.
This?
Clarity is rare. And it is precisely what separates those who build something enduring from those who are constantly chasing quick results. Even today, many people, when faced with opportunities, make the mistake of seeking immediate gain instead of the foundation that sustains it all. Solomon, even as a young man, knew that without wisdom, every achievement crumbles. This decisive moment is not just a story to admire. It is a model of thinking we can adopt when facing our own choices. Today, neuroscience confirms something Solomon already lived out intuitively. The quality of our decisions directly shapes the quality of our lives. Research shows that when making a decision, our brain combines logic, memory, and emotion, and this process can be trained. Like a muscle, the ability to decide well strengthens with practice and awareness. Solomon did not act impulsively. He filtered information, sought counsel, and only then acted with firmness. Emotional intelligence is a central component of this process. It's not enough to have technical knowledge or data in hand. One must keep a stable mind, even under pressure. Solomon, when faced with complex disputes, remained calm and analyzed the facts with impartiality. This balance between reason and emotion is what turned difficult decisions into brilliant solutions. Applying this today means creating a space between impulse and action. Before responding to an important email, closing a deal, or making a financial decision, pause to reflect, seek different perspectives, and, if possible, consult trusted people. This small pause may be what separates a wise choice from a future regret. When Solomon asked for wisdom, he was not seeking mere theoretical knowledge or eloquent phrases to impress. What he truly asked for was the ability to find the best way out of any challenge, no matter how complex. He understood that problems are part of everyone's life, and that whoever knows how to solve them carries within themselves an inexhaustible source of prosperity. This was the true wealth he sought, and which attracted all the others. This understanding is so deep that Napoleon Hill translated it into practical steps. For him, asking for wisdom is the same as creating a mindset trained to see opportunities where others see obstacles. It's developing the habit of asking what is the best possible solution before reacting automatically to any situation. This attitude transforms not only results, but also the way we deal with uncertainty. By asking for this ability, Solomon opened the door to a path of endless growth. He didn't ask for a ready-made treasure, but for the key to open any door. And that is a power still available to anyone who knows how to ask in the right way and is willing to apply it in real life. Napoleon Hill taught that without a clear goal, the mind becomes like a boat adrift, carried by any current. For him, definite desire is the force that concentrates energy, attention, and action in a single direction. It's as if clarity works like a magnet, attracting people, ideas, and resources that help bring what you seek into reality. This clarity is exactly what Solomon possessed when he asked for wisdom. He knew precisely what he wanted. When the goal is vague, any path seems to work, and that wastes time and energy. But when you know exactly where you're going, your own mind starts to eliminate distractions and focus only on what matters. Solomon didn't get lost asking for everything at once. He directed his request to the foundation that would sustain any other desire. This mental discipline is one of the reasons his reign was marked by peace and prosperity. Applying definite desire in practical life can be as simple as writing down every day what your most important goal is, and then listing 3 actions that bring you closer to it. Hill and Solomon would agree. It is consistent focus that turns good intentions into real results. Solomon understood something most people still ignore. Riches are a consequence, not the primary goal. By asking for wisdom, he was planting the seed that would inevitably bear fruit in every area of life, including finances. God not only granted his request, but also added wealth and honor, because he knew Solomon would have the maturity to manage them. It's like giving a fortune to someone who already has the discernment to multiply it and use it with purpose. Solomon's choice reveals that when the focus is on the right foundation, results come as a byproduct. Many today chase financial shortcuts, but forget to strengthen the base that sustains success: correct decisions, long-term vision, and integrity. By prioritizing wisdom, Solomon built a life where prosperity was inevitable. This principle is timeless. If you first develop the ability to think and act with wisdom, prosperity becomes a natural consequence, not an exhausting race after fleeting gains. And this raises the great question: how do we transform this wisdom into concrete, tangible results in daily life? Napoleon Hill said that the human brain works like a transmitter and receiver of ideas. When thinking is chaotic, the messages we send to the world and to ourselves become confused. But when we organize our thoughts and align them with a definite goal, we create a focus so powerful that the brain begins to spot opportunities that previously went unnoticed. It's as if, suddenly, everything conspires toward achieving what we seek. Modern science calls this the reticular activating system, a filter in the brain that helps us perceive only what's relevant to our goals. If you decide to buy a certain model of car, you start seeing it everywhere, not because it appeared out of nowhere, but because your focus changed. Solomon lived with this level of clarity. He knew what he wanted, and so everything around him seemed to cooperate with his plans. Applying this power means setting aside daily time to align thoughts and actions. Write down your goals, review priorities, and mentally visualize the steps to reach them. Organized thought isn't just reflecting, it's reflecting with direction and purpose. And it's this practice that turns wisdom into concrete results. Solomon's prayer was not a long speech filled with ornate words. It was direct, specific, and full of intention to ask for wisdom to govern well. This format is a powerful mental model, showing that our requests, whether to God, to ourselves, or to life, must be clear and objective. A confused mind produces confused results. A clear mind opens clear paths, translated into practical life. This prayer can become a daily mental programming exercise. Before starting the day, take a few minutes to define, out loud or in writing, which skill or insight you need to face the challenges ahead. Instead of asking for the problem to disappear, ask for the ability to solve it. That's the key, Solomon already knew. Over time, this habit creates mental conditioning. Your mind begins to search for solutions instead of feeding worries. It's a way to align the spiritual with the practical, turning faith into action and action into results. Solomon did not rule alone. Around him was a court of counselors, wise men, and experienced leaders, each with specific knowledge. This network of brilliant minds was not merely decorative. It worked like a living organism of ideas and strategies. Napoleon Hill would call this the mastermind alliance, the union of two or more people in harmony, creating a mental power greater than the sum of the parts. This practice is not limited to kings or millionaire entrepreneurs. Anyone can form their own council of wisdom by surrounding themselves with people who bring perspectives, experiences, and solutions different from their own. When everyone works aligned toward a common goal, ideas emerge that would never appear if each person were alone. That's how Solomon was able to make decisions that benefited the entire kingdom. Bringing this into today's world could mean joining study groups, having a mentor, or even holding regular meetings with trusted people to discuss goals and challenges. Alone, you may go fast, but with a mastermind, you go farther, and with fewer risks. Having wisdom and not acting is like owning an entire library and never opening a book. Knowledge alone does not bring transformation. It is application that produces results. Solomon saw this up close. Many around him heard his Advice admired his words, but put nothing into practice, and so their lives remained the same. Knowing what to do and not doing it is a waste of one of the greatest gifts one can receive. Many intelligent people are trapped in overanalysis. They spend so much time thinking, planning, and assessing risks that they miss the right moment to act. It's like a farmer who prepares the soil, chooses the seeds, but never plants them. Hill called this paralysis by analysis, and it's one of success's greatest enemies. The true value of wisdom lies in the courage to put it into motion, even when the scenario isn't perfect. Solomon understood that decisions need to be made at the right time because opportunities also have an expiration date. It's at this point that wisdom becomes action, and action turns into real results. Napoleon Hill believed that wisdom strengthens when it's constantly exercised. One practical way to do this is to adopt what we call the 3 problems exercise. The proposal is simple. Every day, write down 3 challenges you are facing, big or small, and commit to finding at least one solution for each. This practice stimulates the mind to work creatively and with focus. Solomon, when faced with disputes and dilemmas, honed his discernment by solving seemingly unsolvable cases. Each decision increased his capacity to handle even more complex situations. The habit of seeking solutions daily is like constantly sharpening a blade. Over time, you cut through obstacles with greater ease and speed. This exercise also teaches you to see problems as opportunities for growth. Instead of feeling paralyzed in the face of difficulties, you condition yourself to ask, "How can I solve this wisely?" And that simple shift in mindset can completely change the way you live and prosper. Solomon said, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." In today's context, this means protecting the mind against distractions and negative influences. We live surrounded by information, opinions, and news competing for our attention every second. Without a conscious filter, we end up spending mental energy on what neither builds nor contributes to our goals. Protecting the mind doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world, but carefully choosing what enters it. It's like guarding the door of a house. Not everything and everyone should have access. This includes selecting the people you spend the most time with, the content you consume, and even the words you repeat to yourself. Solomon understood that what we feed within shapes what we build without. Applying this can be as simple as setting aside daily moments of silence to reorganize thoughts, limiting exposure to social media, or starting the day with readings and reflections that uplift the spirit. A protected mind stays focused, productive, and ready to spot opportunities when they appear. Solomon knew that serving others with wisdom not only solved immediate problems, but also built a reputation and influence that multiplied over time. This is the essence of the law of exponential return. What you offer, especially when useful and genuine, comes back to you multiplied. Today, science calls this reciprocity a psychological principle that drives relationships and business. When someone solves another person's problem, they create a bond that goes far beyond a simple transaction. It's like planting seeds. In different soils, some sprout quickly, others take years, but all have the potential to bear fruit. Solomon used his wisdom to benefit as many people as possible, and that only strengthened his reign. In today's world, this law applies to every area. A professional who delivers more value than expected, a friend who offers support at the right moments, or an entrepreneur who solves real pains for their clients. Those who live this way do not rely solely on luck because they create a constant cycle of abundance. There's no greater proof of wisdom than putting it to the test. That's why I propose a simple challenge, inspired by Solomon himself. For 7 days, make the wisdom prayer adapted to your reality. Begin each morning by asking for clarity to make the best decisions and discernment to see hidden opportunities. During these 7 days, keep a notebook or notepad. Record situations where you noticed you acted more lucidly or found creative solutions. This exercise will train your brain to identify more strategic and less reactive thinking patterns. With each note, you'll see that wisdom is not a one-off moment, but a state that can be cultivated. At the end of the week, review your notes and evaluate what has changed. You may be surprised to notice that small shifts in your thinking led to better decisions and more satisfying results. This is the point where wisdom stops being just an idea and becomes a living practice. Solomon showed us that when wisdom is placed above all else, other blessings, wealth, peace, purpose, come as an inevitable consequence. This is a silent yet transformative pact to choose every day to seek understanding before acting, and clarity before deciding. It is an alliance that shapes destinies. Sealing this pact doesn't require grand ceremonies, but an internal commitment. It's deciding that, when faced with any challenge, your first question will be, what is the wisest action here? It's having the courage to give up shortcuts and easy solutions to build something that lasts. It's aligning thought, word, and action with a higher purpose. By living this way, not only does your life transform, but you also become a beacon for others. And if this video spoke to you, like, share, and subscribe. The world needs awakened people, and perhaps you are one of them. True wisdom is not a trophy to be kept on a shelf, but a flame that must be fed every day. It is what turns ordinary decisions into choices that change destinies and transforms moments of uncertainty into opportunities to grow. When we choose to live and feel deeply, we realize that every challenge carries within it the seed of progress. Living with wisdom is an act of courage. It's choosing to act consciously, even when haste and fear try to push us toward easier paths. It's cultivating a vision that goes beyond the immediate building, not just results, but a legacy. And it starts with the small decisions of today. If this video spoke to you, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And tell me in the comments, what is the wisest decision you've ever made in your life? Remember, when you seek wisdom above all else, the rest will find its way to you.